So last time we already had this quotation, but it is so fundamental that I would like to go through it again before we start. There is an echo coming because someone has no. You see, I'm using these not to have echo, but if you don't use them, so mute yourself and then unmute when you want to talk. So Sri Aurobindo says, let us suppose a conscious use of the vibration of sound, which will produce corresponding forms or changes of form. So there is a vibration which is determining the formation of any possible clusters of atoms coming together, forming the stars, the galaxies, the formations in the world. So it is all built on some kind of vibration of energy, which generates those clusters. The same vibration is generating some kind of understanding of what those clusters are about. Let us realize then that a vibration of sound on the material plane presupposes a corresponding vibration on the vital, without which it could not come into play. That again presupposes the corresponding originative vibration on the mental, and the mental presupposes corresponding originative vibration on the supramental, at the very root of things. But a mental vibration implies thought and perception, and supramental vibration implies a supreme vision and discernment. All vibrations of sound on that higher plane is, then, instinct with and expressive of this supreme discernment of a truth in things, and is at the same time creative, instinct with the supreme power, which casts into forms the truth discerned and eventually descending from plane to plane, reproduces it in the physical form or object created in matter by etheric sound. Thus we see that the theory of creation by the word, which is the absolute expression of the truth, and the theory of the material creation by sound vibration in the ether correspond and are two logical poles of the same idea. They both belong to the same ancient Vedic system. So basically what he says, that everything here in the world comes from the consciousness force, consciousness power. It manifests the object of sense and the sense, and they are going together and can't be otherwise. Our mind makes the difference because of how our consciousness functions. We perceive the object of sense as if anew, and because of that we think that we are discovering something which we didn't know. But truly speaking, the sense is already there, inbuilt in the object of sense, which we recover within ourselves. And because of that we have this possibility to come to know anything in the world. It's also an amazing kind of discovery that we can know everything, because it is inbuilt already in the manifestation. Everything is possible to know. Sri Aurobindo says that everything is available for us to discover if we want to. There is another quotation which is very beautiful. So in this case, we can see these two forms. One is the form, the physical form coming as the object of sense, and it has also its vitality, its mental structure, and it has its supramental truth. And also the same with the same that vibration, it comes to the word, or the meaning of that particular formation. So what is the meaning of the formation? The clusters come together into some particular form, some object, but the meaning of those clusters coming together is simultaneously there, consciousness. It expresses certain capacity, certain qualities, certain relations, meaningful relations with all other objects. And everything is meaningfully related in oneness. And that's what we call Shabda Brahman. Shabda Brahman, somebody was asking, Praveen was asking about Shabda Pramana. So Shabda Brahman is that force which unites and connects everything in the meaningful fashion. Everything is meaningfully related. Did we speak a little bit on the artificial intelligence, how they try to make it work? No? Well, nevertheless, when they try to kind of build up artificial intelligence, this is the problem of cognition. So, for example, they say to computer that the book, and computer asks, what is the book? And you say, the book is the thing. And computer asks, what is the thing? So until you explain everything, computer will not get it. So then you say it is for reading. What is reading? It is reading involves seeing. What is seeing? Who is seeing? Man is seeing. What is man? So, and you have to, the more you explain, the more is left to be explained. So basically, computer cannot comprehend. It can only apprehend. So it can put in contact things. So when they wanted to computer to recognize the table, what they do, they make millions of photos of different tables from different angles and put into the memory of computer that maybe somewhere apprehensively through the object it will recognize the meaning. Amazing. We cannot put the meaning of the table through the word into the computer, that it will know what is table, because we ourselves really do not know what table is from the meaningful point of view. We, when I ask this question in the Department of Linguistics in St. Petersburg to my professor, what is lexema? Can you explain to me what is the meaning of the word? And he told me, you look into the dictionary and it will be, table will be the thing with 4 legs, preferably made out of wood. And so I said, but you're describing the object. Can you tell me what is the meaning of the table? Problem of meaning. Fundamental problem of meaning. It's not the object. The object is embodying the meaning, but the meaning is much vaster. Because how you may use the table with other objects in meaningful fashion, relations, is the meaning. So meaning expands. Meaning actually includes the whole world. So the table is that focal point where all meaningful relations are reassembled in a new fashion, and that is the table. Everything in the world underlines the meaning of the table, saying that this is that. The stars, far away galaxies are telling us that there is a table somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry if I'm interrupting, but it seems then that ontology in and of itself has no value in this framework that you're talking about, but it is only when another object forms a relationship with a particular object, the meaning manifests.
Absolutely, so lovely you said it. Yes, it is only relational. Meaning only is only how one object relates to another object and what it can do and will do or will not do or whatever. So a meaning in itself is impossible. So It's only in oneness. Meaning is always revealed in oneness. And ontologically, it has place also because every form is embodying a particular meaningful relations. This table has to have a flat surface, yeah, and which will be able to hold things, computer screen things, and that's how table works. Yeah, that's what it does. So it needs that form. So
Yeah, I think in one of your videos you were mentioning about Utpitika and the function of Utpitika.
oh yeah,
Even even a cloth we can, I mean, can be used as a table if the function of Utpitika is realized. I think that was, yeah, thank you.
absolutely. Utpitika is this kind of uplifting, uplifting from the ground. So it's not on the ground. Though table can be on the ground, you just cover it with some cloth and it is a table. Yeah. So the piece of cloth becomes a table. Everything can become a table. Yeah, I can take a stool and make a table out of it. If I put some food on it and eat from it, it becomes a table. I can make my bed a table. I can make even guitar turn upside down and cover it with cloth and put some food and we eat from it. It becomes our table. So table is not really only in ontologically with four legs made of wood. It can be any function of that particular support of something or a display of something. And it's interesting, display, I say, because we use timetable. Yeah? Timetable is a display. And it is not supporting it from in the horizontal way. It can be on the wall, but it supports all things in a meaningful fashion, which you can access or understand. So it's amazing. So the meaning is going much farther away from the ontological, form of things.
That's beautiful, Vladimir. Thank you so much.
Yeah. This is the real problem of meaning. And we will address it today because we need to see this relation of Artha and Shabda. So on one side, the Artha, Rupa, Nama, yes, this is the fundamental notion of the Brahmanic literature and Upanishadic understanding. So the relation of the form and name. And when we see any form, we have to know the name. If I show you this, I already did this many times, you will see the phone. And the phone, mobile, tells you many more things than you see. You see only this something square. Yeah? But you know so much more from the word mobile because I can call, I can send pictures, I can make pictures, I can make videos, I can watch movies, I can communicate with someone, talk to someone, see someone, send images. All that is inbuilt in this meaning of this simple thing, mobile. And even more, it has a weight. I can use it as a hammer if I need to put a nail into the wood. If I need, I can throw it and break the window. These are also usages which are implied immediately when I say this. But we are not using them. They are not actively present, but they're passively present there somewhere, and it's simultaneous in our mind. And this is comprehensive cognition. Simultaneously, the whole world is reassembled around this object. Yeah.
Vladimir, can I ask one question here?
Sure.
Yeah. So, Vladimir, based on the description that you gave for the usages of the phone, then naturally a question comes to mind: what is the essential identity of an object? Because when there are so many identities and functions, then what is the Atma of the object? For that matter, what is the Atma of the body? I don't know if this question is...
Well, you do not know what the question is doing to you, yes? But, better to know what you're asking.
Resonate with you.
The Atman, the self, is allowing everything, every possible relations to become the self. Self is a very powerful word. It becomes in itself relating to some other self. Within this form, there are many selves. There is a camera, there is a optical part, there is electronic part, there is the surface part, there is a glass, there is plastic, there is metal, there are all kinds of elements which have particular meaningful relations among themselves, millions of connections, relations, electrical signals, impulses, buttons, you name it, colors, everything, it's the whole world is reassembled in that thing. So, and each one is the self, interestingly enough. So if you ask about Atman, what is Atman? Is that everything has the right to be, which has meaningful relations with others,
Wow,
as
so
itself.
amazing.
Yes. Yeah, it's an amazing world we are living in, truly speaking. So this Nama and Rupa, Artha and Shabda, Dhyava, Prithivi, Manas, Vak, these are constant dvandvas in the literature. And if you start thinking about them, you will find those meaningful relations between the ontological and, or let us say, between the form and name, between apprehensive and comprehensive cognition. Apprehensive cognition, it is cognizing the form, that something is there, but to know, to understand the form, the word is needed. The name. Name tells us what the word is about, what the thing is about. You remember in the Kena Upanishad, all the gods come and they try to find out what was the spirit. There was yakshas there, and the gods cannot recognize what yakshas was. And they thought that they grew to greatness. That is the story in Kena Upanishad. And so one by one they come to the spirit and try to recognize it. First Agni, then Vayu, then Indra, and they can't. But then Indra comes to the highest heaven and he meets Uma, and Uma tells him that this is Brahman. And once he hears this word Brahman, he knows everything. He doesn't ask, what is Brahman? Yeah. Why? Because he heard the name. The name tells him what that thing can do, what it is about. And Brahman is from root brih, to grow, to expand. It's an expanding force. So once he hears this, he knows what it does. So this is the meaning, what it does. Here also relations of Vachya and Vachaka, we will look into it in the section on Spota theory. But interestingly enough, Chakshukh and Shrotram, the seeing and hearing, are two major faculties of consciousness which determine Rupa and Nama, actually. We see the form and hear the name. So hearing is connected to with comprehensive cognition, and seeing with apprehensive. It is going simultaneously. Sometimes it is with delay. Yes, we see something and it takes time to understand what it is. Just a little delay. What is that? Oh, this is mobile. Okay, now I know. Or you think mobile, where is the form of that? Or sometimes when you go in the town, for example, and you think about someone and then you meet him. So you get the sense of the being before you see the being. So in the philosophy also, it's quite interesting. It doesn't move from apprehensive to comprehensive. It sometimes moves from comprehensive to apprehensive. So it kind of needs those comprehensive relations to be found in the world. And they are found in the world. So they are playing this game. Yeah, Rupa and Nama constantly. So here, today's presentation is about these three meanings or three Shaktis of Tantra and Varna Mala. So let me come straight to what we have to do today. So if you look at the meaning and the problem of meaning we just defined, that it is impossible to describe any meaning without describing all meanings. I cannot describe meaning of the mobile without describing the whole world reassembled around mobile. It sounds a little far-fetched, but it is true. Because if you have to describe this mobile, you will have to describe everything. How to produce the metal, how to produce the glass, what is the glass, what is the metal, the factories of production, people involved, engineers working, the whole history of this idea of the phone, the word, how the words are related, because all these things have names, and those names have relations. So the whole world has to be reassembled just to fully describe what it is. We don't do it because we have comprehensive cognition. We don't need this. We just can focus on one particular feature of it. For example, calling, and that's enough for us. It does it. But there are many more features which we do neglect in that moment of time, so we can focus on one of them preferably. This is the question also of how things get names. And Yaska, in his Nirukta, actually has this question. Did we have this already about Yaska? Yeah? Did we speak about him? No? Nirukta is the oldest treatise on etymology. I studied it in Bhandarkar Oriental Research Institute. It's a fundamental kind of book. So there he has this question. Somebody asks Yaska why certain things get certain names. Yeah? Why, for example, the horse is called the horse? Who did this to the horse? And what does it mean, really? And he says that Ashva is from Ashu, of course, in Sanskrit we will see it, in English we will not. It's much more difficult. But in Sanskrit it is transparently, etymologically, we can find out. Because it's from Ashu, to be swift. So Ashva is running, actually, literally. But then his opponent asks again, but why don't we call Ashva everyone who is running? It's a valid question. If Ashva is running, and then why not everybody is the horse who is running? And then he answers a very interesting thing. He says that the names are chosen, it's like the nickname. One particular feature is highlighted. Can you imagine nickname? Did you have nicknames in the childhood, in the school? No? Somebody called you by some name. And that name gets stuck to you. And by that particular one feature, you cognize the whole ontological form, so being. For example, utpithika, supporting up. But utpithika can be supporting up not necessarily the table, but it got stuck to the table as one feature, yeah, and that would be enough for us to recognize the object. So it's like an adjective, a description of the object. One particular feature describing the object becomes the nickname to use for the object. I think this is genius, what Yaska did, because we are so, determined to think about things as if they are named as they should be named. Yeah? It's not like that. It's very fluid, very approximate, It's never totally reaching and describing the object. Yeah? It just highlights one quality, and that's it. And that's enough. That's enough for us to function. But there are many more qualities which are not highlighted. Makes sense? You take all the names of the gods, for example, Indra, or Shiva. Shiva means merciful, or but these are descriptives. Indra, Idandra, in Aitareya Upanishad, they speak about this, what Indra is about. Idandra, Idra, separating this, separating heaven and earth, separating meaning and the word in that story of Brahaspati and Indra. So this is Indra. He is splitting heaven and earth. He creates the gap between them, the grammar, which has to be reconnected. So his functionality is in the word, but it is only one particular highlighted factor, or Vishnu. Interestingly, Vishnu, Taittiriya Aranyaka describes what Vishnu does and why Vishnu is Vishnu, because Snu is a suffix of the doer, and V is that which holds two in one. So he holds heaven and earth together. He's the one who holds the beginning and the end of things. And that's why he is Vishnu. And not because this is a beautiful name, somebody loves the name Vishnu. No, it has a function. It has a profound function in it, hidden in the etymological meaning. But it is only one function, which is highlighting the whole name. There are many, many names. Some of you may know Sahasranama, of Vishnu, how many names he can have. And this is just the beginning. I think all the names can be assigned to Vishnu because he somewhere, somehow does that. Now, when we look at the meaning, on these, there is a subject known to us as semiotics or semantics, and it has three major branches: semantics, syntactics, and pragmatics. You most probably know about this, those who study semiotics. Semantics is difficult to define. Syntactics is clear. It's about structures, how structures are built in relation with meanings. For example, syntax in the language. I go from my home to the office. In the office, I meet with people and come back home. Now, I made a picture from here to there, from there back home. And that picture you understand. All those relations drawn by me in the mind, you immediately envision. But syntactic semantics is a very interesting thing because it's very approximate. So to say, it's very precise in the structure, but very approximate in the meaning. Because if I go to office and come back, this is one thing. But if he goes to office and come back is another thing. Or maybe some atom moves to another atom, does something there and returns is another thing. Or the birds fly to the new, nest and comes back to over a year is another thing. So this particular structure can be used in millions of settings. So we have a limited number of structures, actually, which we can use in the world. We can count them on fingers, actually. They are very primitively determined. This is what Indra does. It is his structuring the world, structuring the grammar. These vibhaktis, 7 vibhaktis, cases, and we spoke about them, cases. Or we will speak about them in the future, at least. Relations between the object and subject, subject-object relations. They are very limited in number of relations. And they can be projected onto the whole world everything has the same kind of structure. So this is syntactics, the formal. Pragmatics is something which is going beyond that. It is what it does because it happened. Yeah? It is something which goes already, what for it is there doing this? For what? Or something. So semantics is the most difficult part because there the meaning has to reveal itself, the meaningful relations, which is quite a thing. So the major functions of language I put here also: creative, cognitive, communicative. Communication is considered to be the major function of language in general linguistics. But cognitive and creative are somewhat neglected. Cognitive is still there, but creative, that the word creates, is somehow disappeared from linguistics altogether. So what I want to say, you see, I'm putting them together because semantics is more creative, syntactics is more cognitive, and pragmatics is more communicative. What it is for, why we are doing that, or communicating that to others for them to know and to do something afterwards. Some purpose which is not in the text. Text conceals the purpose which is next. So here, why I'm mentioning these, because it's amazing. I skip these 3 powers of the word: intentional, self-expression, structural semantics. I just mentioned these. How the cases, tenses, modes, modalities, voices connect and build the text. And finally, pragmatic application and the consequences. So this is totally fitting with the 3 Shaktis of the word in Tantra. And that's why I'm kind of doing it, kind of bringing this modern thinking in linguistics and semantics to the Tantric. Icha Shakti is the highest, Jnana Shakti is the next, and Kriya Shakti is the last. Amazing. Icha is the intention, the willpower. Jnana, the knowledge, cognition power. And finally, Kriya is the action power. And they are here. So you can see Pashyanti Vak is Icha Shakti, that Icha Shakti intention. Madhyama Vak is that where we cognize within the language what it means. Jnana Shakti, and Vaikhari will be the action itself when we speak. All right, basically this is it on the 3 Shaktis. It's just touching upon. And I have to move to our major topic, Varna Mala. There are more things here, but I will not overload you. It's already an overload. We spoke about these before, fundamentals of etymology. The 4, Sri Aurobindo says, we can find an equal regularity, an equal reign of fixed process on the psychological side in the determining of the relation of particular sense to particular sound. So sense, our understanding or meaning, and sound are related regularly throughout. We only have to find that process. When we find it, we will be able to speak meaningfully, to articulate meanings through the sound. We lost that capacity. It's Brihaspati's speech. But we may kind of approach it a little bit, like Poets feel what the right word to use, yes, because it sounds proper. It has that color, it has that flavor, that varna. Yeah, it has to be there because they paint the reality. So the first four vowels, a, I, U, Ri, in Sanskrit language, this is Sri Aurobindo, indicate the idea of being. Interesting. Vowels indicate the idea of being because they are like infinite. You know? If consonants are touches, like k, k, but vowels are infinite. They have no stop. You can continue forever. But with ka, you cannot continue forever. You have to do it only once, touch. So this being, existence, in its short form indicates being in its simplicity, without any further idea of modification or quality, mere or initial being creative of space. It's quite clear, yes? There is no modulation in the mouth, just vocal cords vibrating, the sound is coming out, this is it. Simplicity, initial being, creative of space. It creates a particular space when it sounds. E is totally different, an intense state of existence, being narrowed. Narrowed by what? By the tongue. Tongue is pushing R to the palate and makes it very narrow. E. You have to push with the middle of the tongue to the hard palate and create very short, very small gap. And that small gap will generate the sound in such a way that it will sound like E. E, intense state of existence, forceful. When we do this, we force our tongue to reach to the top of our palate. We feel like we reach to the top of our being. Insistent, tending to a goal, seeking to occupy space. It's like a needle piercing through. Ooh, a wide, extended, but not diffused. Ooh, it's like ooh, yeah, a state of existence being medial. Medial, interesting because two lips are involved, and firmly occupant of space, firmly holding the space, like it's a fullness. It's like my cheeks are full. Inside me, in my articulation, I have a fullness there. It's ooh. And it's all the words you will find there related to this sound, yeah, with ooh, even water, all those wide, vast, they will all have WV, ooh. Duality, all the dualities are also with ooh. I have the whole list of ooh. We will go through the roots, you will see what they mean. Ri, a vibrant state of existence. Either in cerebral or velar. Yeah? Either or, there is a vibration, pulsing in space, being active about a point, within one point, within a limit. So these are general observations which generate general significances, yeah? Which then, when we apply them, create the meanings. I have to say a few words on long vowels. The lengthened forms of these vowels add only a greater intensity. We know this from Sanskrit, those who, or Hindi, yes, they do not change really the quality, the tapestry, the substance of the vowel. They add intensity to the meaning of the original forms. But the lengthening of the A modifies more profoundly, and we know this. It turns backward the meaning. If A makes it unactual any meaning when it is in front, then long A turns it upside down, so to say, backward. Like gacchati goes, agacchati comes. It's kind of changing the direction. It brings in the sense of space already created and occupied by the diffusion of the simple state of being, a diffused or pervasive state of existence. A is used also onto, up to, starting from onwards. It has that extension, and you can see it in Sanskrit language with this prefix A, long A. These significances are, I suggest, eternally native to these sounds and consciously or unconsciously determined the use of them in language by Aryan speakers. To follow these developments and the modifications, it is necessary to take these roots one by one in themselves and in their derivatives. That's what Sri Aurobindo was doing. We will come closer to the roots next time, but today I want to show you this. All of you read Devanagari? You can read Devanagari, Kate? No? No? Okay, I'm coming back to this form. So, if you look at the system of the Varnas in the Varna Mala, in this Sanskrit alphabet, you will see that we have 5 levels of articulation. Every Indian knows it because it's the same alphabet in Hindi. Once you study Hindi, well, it's your language. It's an amazing system of etymons. It's actually a profound systematization of all possible articulatory devices. So you have all back tongue of sounds, all possible modifications. Ka, first touched, consonant voiceless touched. Kha, voiceless aspirated. Ga, voiced, touched. Gha, voiced aspirated, touched. Nga, nasal, going through nasal cave. Ha is questionable. We will talk about this later, but it is also belongs there to the back. And ha, fricative. So you have the full kind of range of all possible articulations within one particular sthana, within one particular level. And the same on 5 levels. Amazing. Just think about it. The same on the palatal level. Cha, cha, ja, jha, nya, ya, sha. The same on the cerebral level. Ta, ta, da, dha, na, ra, sha. The same on the dental level when the tongue is touching the teeth. Ta, tha, da, dha, na, la, sa. And same on the labials, on the lips level. Pa, pa, ba, bha, ma, va, fa. Amazing. Covering all, I mean all, relatively, but truly all possible articulations we can make within this given apparatus as distinct, not as some kind of noise in between. It has to be distinct. It has to be cognized by our hearing, cognized by our articulation. So what is interesting here, what sounds do we not have? What do you think? In this system, it would be, I say that we have all, but we may miss some sounds from other languages.
Clearly, Anuswar is not there.
Anuswara is ha, that ha and fa here. Ha, fa. They are used only at the end and not in the beginning. That's why They don't have a vowel there, yeah?
Okay.
Yeah. But what we, in other languages we have, in English, for example, or which we don't have in Sanskrit. This is important because it sharpens your understanding of these sounds.
Z, the Z.
Absolutely. What is za? Interesting. How would you define?
So K-A also, no?
What is that?
Q-A-Q-A.
QA. It's k. It's still k. Yeah, it's the same k.
Oh, okay, the sound.
Well, articulation. But that really za we don't have. We have sa. We have sha. We have sha. But where is za? So what is za according to you? Look at this system, fricatives. We have here fricatives. What is fricative actually? Fricative is noises, yeah, like sha, sha, sa, fa, yeah. These are noises which can be extended in time because it's like a sand. If you take t and melt it into sand, it becomes s. Or you take k and melt it into sand, it becomes h. Yeah, so it's a sandy substance. They're called sibilants also, or fricatives. They create the friction without, and they can be pronounced without vowels. Yeah. So, and what is that? Za. Now in this light.
Yeah, it's a fricative, but somewhere between sa and somewhere in between, right?
Yeah,
That's
very
fine.
good. It's a fricative, but it is voiced fricative. If fricatives are voiceless, then voiced fricatives we do not have in Sanskrit. We do not have raja, raza, va. These sounds we don't have. Voiced fricatives we don't have. Raja, raza, va. But these are sounds which are possible. We don't have ja also. Why don't we have ja? Because we have ja. You see, ja and ja do not coexist in one language. In French, we have ja, Jean, and in English, John. It cannot be j and j together in one language for some reason.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's an economy of speech of some kind, you know. It doesn't want to kind of confuse the speaker or the hearer. So you choose whether you go for fricatives voiced or for this. So because of that, we don't have ja. That I understand. Ja is there, so ja should not be there. But what about za? Za we don't have. We have it in zaruri hai in Hindi because, and we write j with dot underneath for za.
Thing that comes from Urdu, right?
Yes.
That's right.
Yes, it is coming from Urdu here. Urdu or Persian, they have these Zs.
And what? W-A?
Right, a very good question. W-A. So we don't have wa as separate from va. There is a whole dispute in this that va and wa, and you notice this in Indian kind of parlance. You do not distinguish even in English sometimes va and wa. And Narad is always very particular when we read Savitri. No, this is va. This is not wa. Don't tell me. Yeah, wast. Don't tell me wind. Tell me wind and vast. He hears this. Yeah, that's clearly. But in Sanskrit, they are going together for some reason. So you can say swar, swaha, yeah, instead of svar. But you can say swar or swar, suar. So that distinction is not made. It can be either pure labial, W, wa, or dental labial, va. Dental labial va is V, yeah? And W is wa, only lips. But in Sanskrit, they are both belong to this particular section here. They do not make the distinction. Most probably because of the mind, clarity in the mind, which was more important than the modulations of the sound. We call these modulations allophones, in a kind of another variety of the same sound. So now these sounds are amazing because they are not the sounds of the alphabet. They are the sounds of the particular articulatory devices. I can say, can you give me guttural, voiceless, touched? So guttural, voiceless, touch, it will be k. Yeah, that is it. Or can you give me palatal, voiceless touch? Okay, ch. So I define the sounds by the position and the possible articulation. The modality of articulation and position, modality of articulation, position. So this is the matrix of all possible articulations within the apparatus. And this is the first and the simplest etymological system. All the roots are derived from this alphabet. If I would be totally kind of insisting on the purity of the system, so I should see, you see vowels, interesting. A is at the back, E is the palatal, R is the cerebral, L is the dental, U is the labial. 5 simple vowels. And they, I should begin to define their meanings, and these meanings extend on the whole Varga, of the whole Kak, Ha, Ga, Ga, Nga, the general significance of A. So A, Kak, Ha, Ga, Ga, Nga, Ha, Ha, and then E, and should be Chi, Chi, Ji, Ji, Ni, Yi, Shi, to keep it pure, not to mix with R, because R belongs to the back and E belongs there. So we have simple roots like Chi. What would that mean? This being narrowed, forceful. Chi. One-pointed needle. Yeah, like. So Chi means to pile up, to bring everything into one spot, to focus, to concentrate on one particular spot. From here, chit, consciousness, as capacity to focus on any object of sense.
Vladimir, why isn't it written then C-I? Chi.
Yeah, well, it's an alphabet. I'm saying if I would be totally, I'm now kind of bringing the roots, the simple roots into the system. So there is root chi, there is root ji. You know root ji, Satyameva Jayate, Jayati. Jai Gurudeva Om. So this ji is actually to break through, to conquer, to become victorious, to win. But winning in a particular way, they speak, for example, Svargam Jayati. He conquers heaven. How can you conquer heaven? Yeah? Means you pierce and you break through the walls, as it were, and you enter into. Yeah? Enter through something which was blocking. Yeah? And this is the meaning of this root. It's like piercing. I know it from the meaning of the sound. I don't know it from the... And then you start comparing it with the text, how it is used, and you see it there. So chi, ji are available simple roots. There is also a root shi to sharpen. Interesting. To make it sharp, to make it thin at the top. Yeah. So you can see the meanings from this narrowing down, forcing, making, as Sri Aurobindo describes it, in intense state of existence, being narrowed, forceful, insistent, tending to a goal, this sharpening, or ji, jayati, or shi, chi, chinoti, chinute. And chinoti, interesting, it's also piling up, also the altar, chiti, because it's also piling up, focusing. And from here, chi, together, if you collect flowers or something into one spot, or you focus the consciousness.
Vladimir, I have a question here.
Yeah.
Just from your experience, so all the E, this is how we have to interpret the nirukta of E, is it? No matter what, so if it ends with the E, if the root ends with the E, it has to fall under these umbrella, that umbrella
Yeah.
of intense, narrowful, forceful
Yeah.
to a spot.
Yeah. You will see it in the roots. We will look into the roots later, and you will see. I have each section for each. For E, all the roots selected. You will recognize this. And E is the simple root. E is available in Sanskrit, Indo-European root, which has the meaning of going, moving. Interestingly, moving like eti, itahyanti. Yes. The most from here yana, from here extensions like ya root also, yeah, yati goes, yanam bus yanam, the bus moving, deva yanam, pitri yanam. We have these movements from E. It's like a flow, like a needle, like a thin, intense movement. So these are the flavors or varnas of that varna particular, which we will find in all the roots. And if you take E and combine, for example, with U is duality, holding the space and so on, you will have this EU, you will have U root, yeah? Simple root U, which means to unite, to hold two in one, or to divide. That means from 1 to 2 or from 2 to 1 you move. Two meanings. This is the difficulty for Sanskrit student, how it could have to unite and to divide, yeah? But in two different classes. But that, nevertheless, what I want to say, you, and from here, yuj, extension, yud, yeah, many roots with extensions. The third letter. But the first two are the most important, you. So yuj is to yoke, to unite, to connect, to add, and so on, to compose. From here, yoga. Yoga has many significances, 150 significances in the dictionary, like using, producing, uniting, and so on. But yudh is to fight, again, two in one. Yeah, when the tension between the two, because they are already in the fight, they're connected, but they are separate. And they create that kind of force field between themselves. And from here, yuddha, fight. With the extension dha, we will look into these more clearly, how extensions are changing the original meaning. And it is all there in Sanskrit. It's very transparent, very possible to understand. And then once you have that knowledge, nothing is impossible. You will see. We will analyze all of these letters and all the roots, major roots. So you will see how you could deeply understand from that what Sri Aurobindo does to us. He gives us the keys. And keys which psychologically connected to our articulation. So when we articulate, we feel the meaning. Because we have this given apparatus. Okay, I'm already 5 minutes over, sorry. It took longer, it's usually taking longer. There's more to say always, and I'm carried away. But if you look at these, just meditate upon this alphabet. Those who know Sanskrit, just look at this. Try to articulate sounds. Feel this kakha gaghana chacha jajanya tatha dadhana tatha dadhana papha babhama. Put your hand on your face, and you will have 5 levels of all possible articulations except voiced fricatives.
Vladimir, if I can say just one thing.
Yes.
I have given a good thought about learning Sanskrit, and I want, just because I have other, 2 passions aside and I can't do anything, and I don't want to hold the others back. So I will just stay here because I think it's beautiful. It opens my mind. But please just do as if I wasn't there. If you just to go on with the others at their level. You see what I mean?
Oh yeah.
For
No,
me,
don't.
it would just be perfect for me, just to be there.
Don't worry. This is not. To be able to explain to the 5 years old is actually much more difficult. So I would be very, very happy to be able to do that, to explain in the very simple manner, because the knowledge is not about complex names and complex, terminology. It's about understanding. So once understanding is there, you can find fitting language to explain it. So, right. If you have any questions for this first round, I will continue next time. Yes.
Yes, Vladimir, just if you can send the link to me as well, that'll be great.
Sure.
So I can actually re-listen and look at the presentation as well this week.
Right. Great. I will do.
Thank you so much, Vladimir.
Yeah. Thank you. And
Yeah.
okay, if there are no questions.
Thank you, Vladimir.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. Praveen, you are not saying anything? Usually you do something.
I was just reflecting on, I think this was amazing, Vladimir. I was also reflecting on Nyaya Vaisheshika tradition, on what he said about this. So interestingly, I came about one criteria for a reality. They say that it has to have astitva, abhideyatva, and gyayatva. So astitva is swarupa, and abhideyatva is nameability. So I was just trying to connect. At one level, nameability and swarupa are same, but I think in the level that we live, they are different. But I'm just wondering, there is so much more to learn. I mean, this is just the beginning, I should say.
Yes, Shastras are very good, and Darshanas also profound. They give some food for thought, but you have to actually, appropriate it for yourself. It has to be your knowledge. Yeah? So if they help you, and what you just said, it is actually in Sri Aurobindo's description of the basics or the building blocks of etymology, where he looks into the beingness, into the movement, into the touch, into the sound. Yeah, these are the fundamentals of building blocks of not only etymological meanings, but also of the ontological existence of our forms. Yes, we exist within this given set of possibilities. So it is very nice. I never looked into Nyaya. Nyaya was too difficult for me. I tried few times to come to it, but it was so different from Sankhya, so I never could master it.
Basically, I was trying to ask, is there an identity to the vowels? For example, can we say there is a DT for sound A, or if there is a swarup for A, E, U, all the 5 vowels, and even consonants, but I understand.
Yeah,
this-
well, that's what we try to actually define today, to connect them with our apparatus and look into what Sri Aurobindo says on these. I had more to say here, but time ran out. So if you look at these, this is the Svarupa of the vowels, an absolute existence, yeah? And so these are my definitions: relative existence, pervasive existence, and progressive, vibrant, pulsing, active within a limit. So these are the Svarupas, because when we pronounce them within apparatus, we have that psychological state. We have to make an effort, let us say like this, a conscious attempt to articulate the meaning of undifferentiated state or movement or quality corresponds to a sound. If I want to articulate that state within this given apparatus, I will arrive at without any differentiation. If I want to articulate the meaning of particular relative state or movement or quality, I will arrive at E. It's more, so it's all, these all meanings are in relation to each other. You cannot have a separate kind of meaning from other meanings. We spoke about this. All meanings are related. It's only in comparison between them that I can arrive at A, E, U as definite meanings. If I don't have all the set of them, I cannot really do it. Because the meaning is cognized in relations, in the difference between E and U and A. Yeah? A, E, U are the three major colors. Yeah? But how would you define them as colors, interestingly? A, E, U. What is U color for you? A, E, U. Three major colors. It should be yellow or white, blue and red. So choose between these three. What is red? What is blue? And what is white?
R should be
Red
white.
I is white. Very good. Everybody agrees on it. E is red. Excellent.
Right, yeah.
U is blue.
And who is blue? Fine. You see, we have even this kind of agreement without agreeing even before, without knowing everybody's opinion. We somehow feel it.
Mhm.
And the words carry those significances. Water, blue, you will have this ooh everywhere, which will give you that kind of, sense of red. I would say these are more even, striking red. E is more like reddish, but rosy or something. But they're related, E and Ri, they're very closely staying. Okay, very good. So let's stop here and continue next time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Vlad.
Thank you.
Shanti. See you.
Bye.